It looks like we're live.
Yay! He thrusts his fist
Hello.
against the posts and still insists he sees the ghosts.
What?
It's a stuttering exercise.
Oh, I've never heard of it. But do I need help with the?
No, but it's been in my head all day ever since I rewatched. It. All right, your comedy is wasted on me, sir. Perhaps others find you funny. I do
not. That's fair enough. Yes, you tear into me. You're a guest. You're allowed to tear into me.
Wasn't that the point? Isn't that what you wanted people to do today? Was someone argue with you? Well, I'm here to argue.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes. People are here to argue. Hello, Jeb. Hello, Saxius. Hello, Brian.
Why isn't Sax in here, man? Sax argues best with you.
He's stopped doing streaming things for the time being.
He stopped doing streaming things?
Yeah, he's having a bit of a break.
Oh, well, I won't invite him to any of my shit then.
He's having a little bit of a break. A bit of sax time.
A bit of sax time.
So, the point of tonight's stream is once and for all for me to produce a definitive ranking, as far as I'm concerned, of all the official D&D and AD&D adventures that I have run or played for a minimum of one session.
Well, that's
so obviously some of these, my knowledge and my memory might be a little bit sketchy, but this is entirely subjective and is based on how excited I would be to run the adventure for anybody who wants to play it tomorrow.
Okay.
Entirely subjective. When I do my reviews, I try and add a bit of objectivity. For example, you know full well that I'm not a big fan of sci-fi, but I'm not going to give S3 a terrible rating because I can see that it's got the building blocks in there to be a solid adventure for a group who appreciate that sort of thing. So, yes, there's always some subjectivity that goes into reviews, but this tonight is 100% subjective. Arbitrary reasons pulled out of my backside.
Best place to find arbitrary reasons.
Yes. So I have put a pinned comment at the top of chat for the purpose of people to come in and tell me I'm wrong. And what I'd like to see, if any of you have got an opinion on a module that we are currently ranking, come in and tell us why we're wrong. Argue. Defend the corner of your favorite adventures. Hello, Peter. How are you? So, there's not many in chat at the moment. People are still filtering in. So, Bear, how are you doing? How are you? I saw you streaming. You were streaming earlier while I was at work, and you were saying how warm it is at the moment.
Warm? No. It's now currently warm. You understand? Like it's still hot. It was really, really, really hot. We got up to 46, 47 with the Humidex on Monday. Tuesday we were in about 44. And now it's about 31 outside. It feels like 31 with the humidity, but like it's 28, 31, which is a nice range, not so much humidity. On the 46th day, it was like 36, 46, and a 10-degree shift in humidity is just fucking brutal. So it was very brutal and not a lot of fun. Hey, Hunger. But now we're out of it. But my apartment's very hot. It holds heat for some reason. Probably shitty insulation. So my office is currently 85.5 degrees Fahrenheit, which I can't remember what that is Celsius.
About 26, 27.
Oh, yeah. So it's
it's warm for indoors. It's warm for indoors.
Hang on.
Oh, no, it's 30 odd. 28 is 82. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it's about 30 in my office right now, which sucks dick. But what are you going to do? Got all the fans going. My AC arrives on Friday. Should be fun. Otherwise, I'm doing all right. I'm losing my passion for role playing, which is a high sign that I might need to take a break. And since next week's my birthday, I'm going to actually go do some shit and go visit the nation's capital and stuff like that and just sort of take it easy. But I find myself not wanting to run games or not getting excited about running games. You know,
A bit of burnout, a little bit of burnout.
I don't know if it's burnout. Burnout's an odd word. I don't believe in burnout. I don't believe burnout's a thing. I think it's lacking inspiration. I think players are fun to play with, but they don't communicate between games. Thereby, they don't fuel your inspiration to keep you moving forward, things like that. Or you'll give them something and then you won't hear from them for a week. And you're like, hey, did anybody read this fucking thing? You know, it's like, that's the shit that kills my enthusiasm.
And that reminds me that I need to do something to send you.
Do.
I do, yeah.
You do. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Bit of good news from my works situation.
What happened?
We've potentially got 2 new people working there starting this weekend. Both are going to need training and supervision, and what have you. So hopefully, as of next week, I should be able to cut down on my silly hours that I'm doing. So, and I might have a little bit of time to make a few more. Do a few more bits and bobs. So, yeah, we're taking on 2 people to fill that one role before, and splitting the hours very part-time between them, because we simply cannot depend on such a small staff.
Yeah, that's fair. You need, like, one of the things you got to be careful of, and this is a business realism that a lot of people don't understand. You have to put a lot of eggs into many baskets. You can't put them all in one. Otherwise, You're going to get screwed when that one basket gets tipped over. You've got nothing, right?
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine had a catering company. He used to cater all the rock shows. His primary company was, his client was the promoter who did 99% of the shows in Montreal. When that guy ran into hard times, he cut back all of his stuff. Suddenly my buddy, who didn't have a diversified customer base, had to close his business because, he had nothing, right? This is the way it is. You gotta, that's why people are like, why does your channel not focus on one thing? Well, because it's not about one thing. It's about the hobby in general. It's about what I like. It's not a, hey, this is a dungeon tube, or hey, this is a super tube, or hey, this is a sci-fi tube or a Trek tube. It's a tube about role-playing games, People want everybody to hyper focus. It's really weird because they want to be able to go to their one-stop shop for the thing they want, right? But we don't need that. What we need, regardless of what we want, what we need are more supermarket or shopping plazas or etc.
Yes.
That's what we need, but we don't see it that way. So or we go the other way, the big box mentality where we put everything into one place and then it doesn't really do any one thing well.
Yes, and that's why I diversified my channel a little bit. I don't want to burn out on the one thing. I do have
D&D modules again.
Yeah. I do have. Role playing games. It's what I spend a lot of my week doing. We finally finished Horror on the Orient Express, the 1920s campaign, yesterday. And that's been going 18 months. So the time and effort that we've all put into that has been astronomical. I'm going to take a break next week because I think I need it after having done that. But I would estimate I'm doing or thinking about something to do with role-playing games 5 out of 7 nights a week when I'm at home.
I hear you. So, but you also do a ton of other stuff too. Plus, you have a family.
Exactly. And I'd like to have all that other stuff on my channel because it's my channel. It's my thing.
Exactly.
Yes. Right. So hello to people who've arrived in chat. We have a Hungar. Hello, Hungar. We have a George Egarog. Hello, George. We have Mike Percival. Hello, Mike. We have Andy. Hello, Andy.
Hey, Andy.
There we go. So, yeah, people are arriving. Right. Now, the plan for this particular stream is I want to put there are pictures at the bottom of here of every single D&D and AD&D adventure. I'd originally said 1977 to 89, but I've added in 4 that are out of that era. but they do pertain to D&D and AD&D first edition.
You're so easily bullied.
I am. And I want to put them in order once and for all. And I want people to tell me if I'm wrong about something. It's as simple as that. Join in. Tell me I'm wrong. Vouch for your favorite. They are in number order. And the way I'm going to do is I'm going to compare them head to head. Do I prefer this one over that one? If so, we'll put it higher. And so this ranking you see there, it's going to be fluid. It's going to shift. Modules are going to be...
I'm just here to snark. I said, and I'm just here to snark at you.
You are. You're going to snark at me. Yes. So, right. So by the rules of this, we're going to start with A0, Danger at Dark Shelf Quarry, which has to go straight into the middle as the first one we compare head to head. Right?
Sorry, which one is this?
This is A0, Danger at Dark Shelf Quarry. It was part of the Slavers compilation when they re-released A1 to 4. And it was like a prologue adventure they introduced. It's a pleasant little adventure. It's not overly exciting. The bosses aren't very well done, but the environment is. And it's very sandboxy, which is for an adventure that was published in the 2010s. Actually put out under Wizards of the Coast, but for AD&D first edition as part of that package. It was surprisingly good, but it wasn't without its flaws, and it did lack something in the excitement department. So, and it didn't serve as a prologue to the campaign very well because its level range was too low. So it had problems, but it was a worthy little adventure.
Fair. I never liked the Slavers series myself. But a lot of my dislike for modules is going to be based on the asshole who was our sole referee during high school. So he ruined a lot of stuff for us.
Okay, fair enough. So we are going to start with that Slavers series. And I'm an A1, Slave Pits of the Undercity. What do you remember about that one, Bear?
Jesus Christ, dude. It was like 84, 85 we played that. What do I remember? It's all a blur. I remember we did Slavers, then we did Giants, and then we did Drow. I think that's down. And it was an entire winter, every weekend, hours on end. And all I remember is I hated the entire experience, but I liked hanging out with my friends. Okay. Yeah, I got nothing.
You got nothing. Right. So General Nut, you're absolutely right. That's why this whole thing is utterly subjective. I'm going to slap this one straight in 13th to 14th because that's where I think it's going to end up on their ranking. It is better than A0. It's a solid little dungeon crawl. They needed more about Highport, but the dungeon crawl itself is good. And the Aspis, the new monsters, are absolute bastards.
I'll be right back. It's hot and I need a drink.
Okay, no problem. And while Bear's away, we'll slap A2 in. I think A2 is not as good as A1, but better than A0. A2, the tournament section was too linear, but it had great bosses. And the bits they bolted on were quite hit and miss. There was some great combat in this, but it was all very big and cumbersome. And I don't particularly want to run it for people again because of the amount of effort that I had to put into it. I'm going to slap this one in there for now. And I think you all know where I'm going to put A3 as well, because let's be frank, A3 is shit. Anybody going to argue with that? It's up to you, chat. You can argue with me all you like, but A3 is just one waste of time. Thing is, George, I've actually reviewed most of these, and I have given them fairly objective ratings, been as objective as possible. And a lot of this now isn't going to coincide with my ratings, like my more objective reviews. It's going to be based purely subjective, how much I actually like it. There are some adventures that I will admit maybe aren't that great, but I prefer to run it over a one that I'd given a higher rating to because I think it appeals to me more. So, but these first edition and basic ones, yes. So this one is going straight down there. It may well drop a category. Right, this is the first real head-to-head where it's going to be close. A1 versus A4. Which is the better adventure? A1?
A4 is the area of the slave lords, right?
No, A3's area of the slave lords.
What's A4?
A4 is in the dungeons of the slave lords. When you've been captured, when you've got to break out of the dungeon, you've got to use your ingenuity.
Yeah.
So Bear, it gets a thumbs up from you, A4 then.
Oh, fuck yeah. I remember that, but I remember it because one of our players, who's now a PhD of medical history, was smarter than the DM. And he kept frustrating him. And we were also annoyed by the time we got to the fourth adventure, spending an entire day watching him get frustrated because this other player was just out thinking him at every turn. And then arguing his logics really well to the point where it's like, the other five of us were like, bah, 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 he's got you there, so it was great. And I think that's why I liked it, because of the slaver modules, it was the one that required the most ingenuity from the players.
Correct. It is the most memorable one in the series because it's different. Now, it does suffer in that it's a little bit short, and some of what's written in there for the DM, it tells the DM to do, you really can't do, and let the players have a chance, because that last fight to get on the ship and to get your stuff back is absolutely impossible when you're under-equipped. So you have to ignore that bit in there where it says the locals will not get involved in the fight. I went, no. If the party rouse up the rabble and get them involved, that'll happen. So you've got to have that. But if I was going to run one of these adventures again, which one would make me most excited to run? Definitely this one.
So this one being, I don't recognize the covers, and they're super tiny.
A4, the slave lord, in the dungeons of the slave lords.
Right.
The one, yeah. You don't see any of the covers on the screen.
Oh. We can see them. They're just super tiny, dude.
I know they are.
You can actually zoom in on your browser and make it a bit bigger, though.
I can.
Control plus on your keyboards.
Also, control and mouse wheel.
Oh, well, you can do that too. So there you go. Now we can see them.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
You have to scroll a bit. Sorry, you don't get to be lazy about it, but that's life.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So you can see the next one that's coming up. Here it is. In search of the
I hate this module.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's the one where you have to populate the dungeons yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Here's why I hate this module and why I think it's a bad module, and I don't agree with everybody that thinks it's great. Everybody thinks it's great because they made it their own. They did their own thing with it. But as an introductory first-time DMing module, how the fuck do you expect me as a new DM to know what I should put in those rooms and what I shouldn't put in those rooms without destroying my party?
They give you tables to roll on.
They give you tables, but it's just don't be lazy and populate the goddamn dungeon, please.
I can see why they did it though. I mean, there are lots of hints and tips in there. There's a lot of good advice for a new DM. I think the text is too dense. I think the map is too sprawling, doesn't make enough sense. But it is a classic teaching module, in my opinion. Do I want to run it? Not particularly. And while I would give it a higher rating than some of these, I would put it here. In my opinion, in my ranking, in the middle somewhere.
I'd put it at the bottom.
Though there's much worse than this one. Much worse.
Sure, but I still put it at the bottom.
Next one, we got B2, the Keep on the Borderlands. Well, probably the most famous module of all time.
You're not gonna. I won't give. Ela and I literally got into a almost yelling argument over this adventure one time. Elfbait and I despise this fucking adventure. It makes no sense. The endless amounts of different monsters cohabitating in a space without one of them having just wiped out all the others and taken over the entire warren makes no sense. It is absolutely D&D at its purest D&Dist. You know what I mean? It's so fucking nothing makes sense. There is no logic. It just exists because we needed a place to go kill monsters and we wanted to do different types of monsters. Why this module gets the love it is solely because for 99% of the players, it was their first module.
Have you seen what Sean's done with it, though, with his long campaign?
No, I can't watch Sean's stuff. It's good, but it just, it's overwhelming too. But yeah, I know Sean's done some really cool shit with it. So is Professor Dungeon Master. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I think in the hands of somebody like Sean, who's going to take every little bit that the players do and weave them into the game and make it all his own, I think this is a great module. I think as a teaching module, it's too overwhelming for a new DM. I don't think it's a good teaching module, but I think it's got the nuts and bolts in there in the hands of an experienced DM such as Sean that it can work.
So there's a really good basic fantasy role-playing, whatever, that third edition weird clone. He has a clone of it called Morgan Fort and Caves of something, or Caverns of Chaos or something like that, where he basically made his own versions of them. I think they're much better. Okay. There's a more modern sensibility to the design, more logic, more rational thought, right? That said, I've run it, and the players had fun when I did, so can't criticize it. Would I run it again? I don't know.
That's how I am about it. I've run it. Hello, Michael. Do I really want to run it again? I'd be willing to give it a go. And in fact, it interests me more than In Search of the Unknown in terms of running it again. So I'm going to put it there for now. It might slip up and down. But that's where I would put the Keep on the Borderlands in mine. Right, Palace of the Silver Princess, the infamous one that got recalled, rewritten by Tom Moldvay and re-released as a sort of fairy tale. Monster menagerie fairy tale.
Yeah, I've read the original. I've never read the reboot of it. And the original suffers from the same problem that Into the Unknown or whatever it is has, which is, wow, I got to populate this fucking place.
Yeah.
But not just the monsters. I got to populate what the rooms are, what's going on in them. It's like, come on, man.
And the presentation of the original, presentation was very, very amateurish of the original.
Yeah. But I've never read the sequel, or the rewrite, so I don't know.
Well, I should. Oh, Bears just had to bug off for a bit. I have recently used this and seeded it into a campaign with some amendments, and it was okay. I should be nostalgic towards this one because it was the first adventure I ever played in, and I enjoyed it. But I was 11 years old and I didn't know any better. Right? What does does the thought of running it excite me? No, it does not. No, it does not.
Yeah, when I was 11 years old, I thought farts were funny.
Yeah, I still do.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, I thought they were really funny, you know?
Right. Lost City. In the pyramid with all the mad...
with all the animal masks and everything.
Yes.
Never played it, only read it. And when I read it, I was like, why does this exist? I don't understand why people think this is a great adventure. Maybe it runs
you're wrong. I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
That's runs okay. You're allowed to be wrong in telling me I'm wrong.
It runs beautifully. And the whole insanity of the occupants makes for an incredibly memorable adventure. It's a really nicely designed dungeon, and I love it. I love the atmosphere of it. I love the design of it. And for me, it is the first one to go, and it will stay for certain in this category.
That's fair.
I think it is the best of the basic modules by a huge margin.
I don't know if you have my favorite on here, so we'll see.
What is your favorite?
I'm not going to tell you. If it shows up, I'll tell you. Otherwise, at the end, remind me if it doesn't show up, and I'll say, oh, this was actually my favorite module I ever ran, and I love it to this day. But I will say, I understand people have a deep, loving passion for the Beneath the City. What the fuck was it called?
Lost City, yeah.
Lost City, thank you. I don't know. I've never played it. I've never played it. I've never run it. I just read it, and I didn't like the way it read.
Okay. There are other modules that don't read very well that play very well indeed.
Yes.
Oasis of the White Palm being one of those.
Well, all those the desert series, they all read horribly, but they play really well, and I've had the pleasure of playing through them as player.
Okay. Well, we'll come to those in a bit.
I'm sure we will.
Right, Horror on the Hill. This is one I've never run. I played through the first half of it. Our party wasn't big enough and wasn't strong enough, and I know the DM made a few adjustments to try and help us out a little bit, but ultimately we got overwhelmed. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what we did. It seemed like fun, but I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, how much the DM was adjusting things. He ran it. He ran the game well. So does it in 100% subjectively? Do I really want to play in it again, or do I want to run it? I'd like to give it a try. Do you know anything about Horror on the Hill?
I want to run it. I've always wanted to run it. I've read it a couple of times. It sounds like something I'd have a lot of fun with, but I'd make a lot of changes.
Okay. I think the DM that ran it for us changed it to try and we were basically a party of a level 2 and 2 level 1 characters in basic D&D, and with one henchman. And it just destroyed us. It absolutely destroyed us. I think it was a bugbear. It was a bugbear that killed my character. But so I'm going to put Horror on the Hill tentatively in this middle area of the ones I'm going to put it there. I would like to play in it or run it again more than Secret of the Slaver's Stockade, because that was just so cumbersome. Even though I accept there's really good bits in there. I'd like to use certain bits of Secret of the Slaver's Stockade again. So Marquesa is a fantastic enemy. But as a whole module, it's a headache. Okay, the Veiled Society.
Oh, what's that one about? That's the one that they give away the plot twist on the cover.
I think they do. And they've got some stand-up cardboard buildings in there, and the adventure's actually really short and quite linear and set in a city.
Yeah, I remember it. Never played it. I liked it as the idea, though, that it was not a fucking dungeon. Oh my god, that made me so happy.
Yeah, and I played it. I've never read it. I played it as a player twice. Never got very far, but it intrigued me. And it is one that I want to read through. I was hoping to run it for my group that I was teaching old school D&D stuff to, but one of my players picked up a couple of adventures. He picked up the Isle of Dread, and he picked up the Veiled Society. Bought them on Amazon or eBay or something, just to have a look at them.
Yeah. Which
basically ruled them out. But it's one of the ones I like the whole faction idea. I think there's a lot of role playing potential in there. It's just it is very short. I know it's very short, and It's another one for now is going to go into the middle category. And I would actually like to run and play this more than both the Keep on the Borderlands and In Search of the Unknown, because it's got that certain je ne sais quoi, certain intriguing element that I like. So the modules here and there might well move up and down. Hello, Slan. So as I said at the start, for those who've come into chat since I started, I've put a link at the top. If there's any module in here that you think I've got horribly wrong in these rankings, come in and tell me. Fight its corner. Otherwise, just sit there and chat and watch.
Or, explain why something he ranked really high is actually shit.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Right, Hidden Shrine of Tomochan.
Oh my god, I've never played it. I wanted to, but we didn't play it in the end. That game fell apart, sadly. And I have no knowledge of it because I never read it, because we had a specific rule in our group in high school of don't read the module. It'll ruin things for you.
Yeah. I'll give you the good points and the bad points. The good points: flavor, easy to put into like a Lost Worldy type campaign, easy to mix up with something like Dwellers of the Forbidden City or Isle of Dread. It's on paper, it's Tomb of Horrors light. In terms of the puzzles, the traps, it's fast paced because there is a poison gas element, but that poison gas makes it even more lethal than Tomb of Horrors for a campaign party. It's designed to be run as a tournament with the characters provided that have got a lot of resistance against the poison gas. And the whole idea is, in the tournament setting, it's meant to test the players in terms of how they use these resistances and how they get through the dungeon quickly. Now, the speed element is a problem because there's a lot to digest in there, and a lot of it will be wasted because the players will be hurrying through. But the dungeon itself has got some very, very interesting puzzles, interesting enemies, and it's a drip, 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 panic-inducing adventure. And I think it's really well designed. It's not without its flaws. I mean, utterly. When I ran it in a campaign, I had to tone down the poison gas massively, and my group got to the end with them all alive because the actual puzzles themselves and the traps aren't that lethal. But every single character was down to single-digit hit points. They got no healing left, and they were like going, shit, really sort of starting to panic. And that was good. That made for some really entertaining sessions of play. Plus the handouts, as Michael Stronghold says, the handouts are excellent. I'm going to put Hidden Shrine of Tomoa-chan up here. I think it's going to be in the top 20.
Okay.
Right. Ghost Tower of Inverness. Ghost Tower of Inverness. Do you know anything about that one?
Never played it.
Sadly, there's no Scottish elements in it at all.
Yeah, I heard.
Which is a real shame. It's a funhouse. It's in the style of White Plume Mountain, but it's quite linear, and it's difficult, which isn't a problem. But if you run it with the campaign editions, they just make it more difficult. It's fun. It's got a lot of puzzles, which are well done. It's got, if you run the campaign version, it's got quite a bit of empty space, and no Scottishness at all, and no ghost. Exactly, no ghost, but still some really interesting encounters. It's a pure funhouse, and I like funhouses in moderation. Do I really want to run it again? Yeah, with the right group. Do I want to run it more than some of these other ones? I don't know. For me, at the moment, it's going to go there. Slap bang in the middle. I'm going to have to spread this middle group out in a bit, I think. I need to commit myself. Right, Lost Island of Castanamere.
Never even heard of it.
Tournament
Nice
adventure. It's a pretty adventure. That cover, that persuaded me as a 14, 15-year-old to buy it. And oh, how I was disappointed. 32-page module. 32-page module with about 12 pages of adventure.
What's the remaining 20 pages?
Lots of art. Pre-generated characters, tournament bits and bobs. And in those 12 pages of adventure, the writing's really wordy. There's a whole page given up to one of the encounters. So there's no substance. There's no substance to it at all. In my opinion, it's one of the adventures that put me off buying more adventures. I understand how people could enjoy it. But a lot of it is just frustration. I didn't really like the tone of it. I didn't like the frustrating teleport traps. I think the pre-generated, really petty, but I think the names given to the pre-generated characters are awful, pathetic, which just shows it, and it's poorly edited. It feels like it's very lazy. It's got lovely artwork. It's Jeff Easley does some great art in there. It's presented well. It's just got no substance. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put it there, but I'm going to do this. Come on. I think this is fully deserving. I think these are going to be in the bottom one. Clearly Slan, you think the Slaver's Stockade is low in the rankings, one of the better ones in the series? I think it's in the middle of the series, personally.
I believe there's a procedure for this.
Yes, there is. The Gingwattsims. They're the new one of the new monsters in the Castanamere. I think some of them are decent, but they don't raise its stock enough for me. It's got things I could use, but I think it's a poor adventure. It might creep into 37th to 48th by the end of it. I think I know the one you mean there, Pedar. I haven't read any of those. I think it's in the X series. I think I know the one you mean, but I haven't read any of those later ones. Is that the one with a really cool cover? But it's just, yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame. Hello, Saxius. Right. Here we go. Conan Unchained.
Never even read it.
I bought it because a friend of mine wanted to play it. He was a big Conan fan. I think we played it for about 2 or 3 hours and thought, sod this. It didn't even interest the big Conan fan.
Wow.
And for me, Conan Unchained goes there. It's shit. It really is shit. I never want to see it again. Never want to. No, sadly not, Slam. Sadly not. Right, into the Dragonlance ones. Any thoughts on Dragonlance, Bear?
Oh, I wanted to run them in order with new characters and scrape off all the Dragonlance to see if the players would recognize it. But I read the first one and it was so bad. It's such a railroad. and has some of the stupidest, like, just overall, just bottom fucking tier of all the Dragonlance adventures. Bottom fucking tier.
It's pretty though.
Very pretty, amazing art. Problem is
Yeah.
Dragonlance became the Forgotten Realms for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
In that everything was Dragonlance, and that level of saturation with zero quality control on it. But it starts off with bad adventures. Great books, bad adventures.
Yes. And the actual setting books were fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Dragonlance AD&D setting book is decent. It's a good book. And the actual world itself has plenty to keep you interested in it. But the modules themselves were just absolutely knackers. Absolutely knackers. And yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to put it there. Actually, no. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I think it's going to stay in bottom tier. Right. Dungeonland. Alice in Wonderland AD&D style.
Yeah, no thanks. I hate Funhouse Dungeons. I hate them with the fiery passion of 1,000 burning suns. I hate goofy D&D. I hate goofy fantasy for the most part. Because I'm the kind of person that believes, comedy can be found in seriousness.
Yes,
right?
I agree with you.
Or in taking things seriously. So anything slapsticky or waka waka really just annoys the shit out of me, and I hate puns. So this entire adventure was nothing but everything I fucking hate put into one book for me. It was like, I'm good. Thanks. No thanks. Fuck that. Funk that very much.
I've run it, and I would admit I had a little more fun running it than I probably should have done.
Yeah, but you like good shit.
I do. I gave it a slightly below average rating when I reviewed it because it's got limited appeal. It's got no real replayability. It does miss the mark in places, but I think there is a bit of imagination in there, and I think the characters have been translated pretty well. Do I really want to run it again? For me, it goes in this section. It's going to be lower down the tiers. I think it's better than Palace of the Silver Princess. I think it's more fun. It's more fun. Yeah, you do need the right group in the Funhouse ones because it can cause carnage. They can cause carnage, and the group interactions can only enhance the carnage, and that can be fun. Here we go. Right. The Giants Adventures. Now, you said you didn't like these, Bear.
Nope. I don't like the ordering idea, the idea of like all the hierarchy of giants and like the different. I fucking hate that. Jesus, I hate that. Like, oh, these are storm giants, and these are these giants, and these are cloud giants, and these are fuck off. I just want giants, Just give me my Nephilim style giants, and I'm good to go. I don't care one arse bit for the D&D cosmology of giants.
Okay.
That's just me.
That's just the grumpy bias that I wanted to hear from you, Bear.
Oh, okay, good. Go fuck yourself.
I'm going to say you're completely wrong here.
Because everybody loves this shit.
The Giants' Adventures were mostly well designed in that they presented a location, they presented the content of the location, and they had some good ideas in there. And the idea was that then the DM made it their own. And certainly the first one does encourage the party to play very cleverly. There's potential allies in there. There's multiple ways in. There's a party going on. Do the players use and abuse that fact to their benefit? There's a lot of wriggle room for ingenuity. And would I run it again? Would I be excited about running it again? It's going there for now. It's a big yes.
Clever.
It's a big yes. Having said the same sort of thing, I think G2 is a bit weaker. I like the flavour of it. I do like the frosty flavour, but I think it's a little weaker. So it goes there. And then G3 is an absolute behemoth. Brutal. And I would love to run it again. Is it the best adventure in the series? No, I think G1 is. But in terms of whether I would run something, be excited about running something again tomorrow, G3 goes up there. Because my players never got to the end of it. And I'd love to see how it finishes. And I'd love to play the D series. Never played them. Never run them. Love to play them. And G3 is your gateway to that. So for me, that goes there. And but okay, do I want to run G1 to 3 all together as a whole? I gave G1 to 3, the compilation adventure, 10 out of 10 because of its sheer value, the amount of playing time that there is in there. But do I want to run the whole again? Not really. Because it's just so big. And I have just finished running the Horror on the Orient Express. So I don't want to run big for a while. So with this subjectivity being based on how excited I would be to run these adventures tomorrow, this is how I'm going to lay them out.
Cool.
Nutty says he may have to go see a physiologist, don't mean a psychologist, because he finds himself agreeing with much of what Bear is saying today.
Wow, thanks for the insult. Makes me feel good. Right in my heart. I feel it. I feel it.
Hello, Nosorian. Bear is just bitter because he's a lower tier giant.
No, Bear's just bitter because no one else has the fucking balls to get in here. Bunch of pussies.
Yes.
Come fight this fucker. Come on.
Jeb, that is a brilliantly subjective answer there. I like G2 better because it goes with my Ralpath the Frost Giant Mini. That is great reasoning. Yes, Michael's right. If the Giants modules are properly seeded into a long campaign, they can be awesome. Yes, they do require some love. Hey, long time no see.
Thank God. Put him above me. Move.
How are you doing?
Above me. Drag him up to the top.
Go on.
I'm good. Thank you, John.
Take him out. Fuck.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
What you gonna do, brother? What you gonna do now?
Well, I'm here to because we're apparently going to be talking about these models, and yeah, I know I'm going to be a contrarian about a lot of this because, as I posted in, I don't think AD&D made the good games that is being spouted out.
I think they make great modules. I think much better than second
that's
edition.
what I'm here to say. You're wrong on your stream.
Okay. Which ones am I wrong about so far?
Well, I don't like the Giants. I find it railroady. I find the entire thing to be absurd. The character show, I was like, hello. I mean, sorry, this is just the equivalent of me saying to my sci-fi players, hi, you're going to be playing the Penal Legion. We're now going to put bomb collars around your character's neck, and you're going to be going and doing this. Why? Because we tell you to. Like, that hook is just like, I don't like that. Sending players off to fight, giants is like, well, I just don't see that purely going into what a hill giant stronghold. All right. Yes, the players are going to have to be creative because they don't have a choice. But then again, I run sandboxes. I run where you've got the entire world where I build it all up and I go, have fun. The world's going to move on with or without you. I don't do these linear constraints. And even if I do, I mean, I can pull down Red Hand of Doom. That is a very good linear one because you have to goddamn think about what you're doing. There is so much going on, and if you, the players, don't sit down and put any form of thought into it, the entire thing's going to collapse. And well, I'll just say, that's it. Game over. You failed.
There's Tiamat. Enjoy.
Yeah, I know.
Michael says here, you seed these modules into sandboxes. You place them in the campaign as things the players can go and find, get involved in, and you give them hooks. I mean, there are things like for example, in these modules, there are captives. Make the captives mean something to the party. Give them a reason to be going.
John, you and I play with very different people. I play with absolute psychopaths. Like, let's just get that really clear. My players do not give a damn about the NPCs. My players sacrifice them if they could to get a bit more XP. That's the group I run with. That's my experience.
Did you mold those players into your image?
No, I found them. I wanted that.
Fully culled the ones who weren't in that image. That's the point.
It has years of of finding new flesh blood and going like, will you survive the cauldron? And the ones who remain in there stay afloat is like, good. These are not the dregs. I shall keep them.
Good.
Right, let's move on. The next one in the list I've got here is I1, Dwellers of the Forbidden City.
Which one?
I1, Dwellers of the Forbidden City. The brown one with the frogs on the front.
I don't remember what it's about.
It's a sandbox adventure set in a jungle. There is a city in the crater of an extinct volcano. And there have been raids on merchant parties. And it is the adventure that gave us Saxius.
What, Bullywogs?
Yuan Ti.
Oh, yeah, nice.
It was the one that first introduced Yuan Ti into Dungeons and Dragons.
How's your auntie doing in the Dungeons and Dragons?
Yay! So,
that's a right, but yeah, go on.
It underutilized the Yuan Ti.
Right.
But it was another adventure. It had factions within the city. And you had a faction of mongrel men, which was quite good fun. You had a faction of bugbears. You had a magic user who was in there trying to stir up sort of... He was like the brains behind a lot of it. You had a faction of Tazloi. It introduced the Tazloi to D&D. You had a Bullywug lair. And you had the Yuan Ti themselves pulling strings.
I'm going to say right now, this has lost me. That is a terrible setup. That is, like you said, okay, we're going to glaze over the fact that they're underutilizing the Yuan Ti. If you're introducing the Yuan Ti, you're not having anyone else be the brains. Like, that is just a fact from my point of view. If you're going to be using the Yuan Ti, probably they are going to be the cold-blooded... psychopaths is the wrong word. They're going to be the cold-blooded reptilians behind there. They have baseline... Yeah. They have 18 intelligence base. It only goes up from there. Mm-hmm. You are dealing with a creature which is cold-blooded, which means they do not have the emotional development that the humanoids do, which is a lot. The goblins, the mongrel men, they're easily manipulated by these creatures. And you're going to have mongrel men and bugbears. They're not even in the same ball game as the Yuan Ti. So that, fair.
I can see that. I say it is a sandbox, and the idea is for the DM to build up the interactions between the groups, role play the various groups. There are potential allies in the city that the players can make, which is always something I like. And there is a lot of freedom in there. It's got a lot of pulp inspiration. Now, I never read the pulps. They mean nothing to me in terms of a source of stories. So when I ran this, I was probably a little bit uninspired by it. I think the framework is there to build something worthwhile. Put it on the Isle of Dread, for example.
Worst fucking module.
No, it's not.
Fucking
No, it's
dinosaurs.
The more I learn about it, the more disinterested I am about it. But again, like the more I learn about most AD&D modules, the more disinterested I become about them. I just do better by running games that I make myself.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. Right. As this ranking is based on how excited I would be to run this adventure tomorrow, the subject matter, I quite like it. I gave it a fairly decent rating when I reviewed it. But the subject matter doesn't excite me all that much. There are components of it that excite me, but the subject matter doesn't. And I'm going to put it there.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Right, next one. There, we're into the desert ones.
Yeah, I like these, but I don't like them because the GM that ran them rewrote them practically. So I later found out when I went and I read the modules, it was not what we played. But I liked the modules as I read them. I thought they were interesting. But I also have a big pyramid-y Egypt thing going on. Like, the way most people are about dinosaurs, that's how I'm about Egypt.
Mm.
You like that sort of thing, that flavor.
Yeah.
I would love to take that and just do that in Alcadim. That would be interesting.
Interesting.
But then again, like
I'm going to get coffee while you two debate this, though, because I'm falling asleep. It's been a long 2 days.
That's fair. But Alcadim, I'm getting to the point of where like I don't want to do less and less European centric fantasy. I want to do different things that are different.
That's fair.
I mean, mind you, my current 5e is then also being done where it's purely centered around creatures of the Underdark, so it's not even close to being European. But yeah, for the Pharaoh, I mean, I remember I watched your video about that. It sounds decent. I am more interested in about the travel across the desert. That's where I find that to be interesting. Having to actually deal and fight against the nature, the environment that you have to get to.
You would prefer then the super module version, because one of the weaknesses of the original 3 was the desert itself was underdeveloped. It was too small. It wasn't as foreboding as it should be. Yeah,
but if you go through the rest of it, from what I can make out, the priority, again, this is the AD&D settings. Like, I don't mean setting as in the world, but like this is what we generally found in these types, is that you were dungeon delving.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing that we see in many of these modules, is that you end up going somewhere in a dungeon to do something or to excavate something. Again, that's why I like 2nd edition.
The super module basically took these 3 and moved the dungeon, so moved the adventures to a much bigger desert. And it bolted in a lot of things around the adventures. Now, they were of a mixed quality, but the actual desert itself was much better. So that would probably be more interesting to you, because you've got more of the environment, more of the world there.
Yeah. But again, I think there is also limits to what they could
of course
do.
Of course. Right. Pharaoh, would I like to run this again tomorrow? You know what? Yeah. Not madly excited, but yeah. It's good. It's fun. It's a really good dungeon. I don't like the desert in it. I think the desert's shit. But the dungeon itself is really good. And on the same sort of lines, Oasis of the White Palm, it gives you 2 dungeons. They're a little bit smaller. And then it gives you a town with intrigue as well. And shenanigans going on in that town. It's an oasis. It's a settlement built up around an oasis. It's not perfect, but it's one of those adventures that I really would like. I've run it once. I really, really would like to run it again. It excites me. Its presentation is horrible. It's a mess how it's written. but it plays beautifully at the table.
Fair enough.
And the third one in the series, Lost Tomb of Martek, it has all the ideas in the world in there to mine. It's got some brilliant ideas, all packaged up in the most insipid, linear, underwhelming adventure I've run in a long time. It's just complete waste. It's a waste of some fantastic ideas because they made it so linear and underutilized the best bits. And the ending is just abysmal. Peter, it's easy. Easy. You might have to tone down a few monsters, but yeah, it's dead easy. Yeah, just tone down a few of the encounters. Right. Well, when Bear comes back, we
can proceed.
We can proceed. But Lost Tomb of Martek, how much do I want to run that adventure again? I don't. It's as simple as that. It was just it was a waste of a lot of good ideas.
Which one are we talking about now?
Okay, right. We've done Pharaoh. I've put Pharaoh in here. Right. The next one was Oasis of the White Palm, the second part of the series.
Mm-hmm.
2 dungeons and a bit of intrigue.
Yeah.
Factions at the Oasis.
Sure.
I love it. I love that adventure. It's a mess. It's a mess to read, but it plays beautifully at the table. It's so good. Right. So good.
But
the third part, a waste of the paper it was printed on. Underwhelming, boring, linear. Some good ideas, completely wasted. You going to shout at me for that one?
No arguing.
No arguing. Okay. Hello, Miko. Hello, Daryl. Hello, Thruxus. More people joining. Hello, James. Tell us how you really feel. Okay. I do think Lost Tomb of Martek is shit. So I put it below Lost Island of Castanamir. If you watch my reviews, I think I gave Martek 4 out of 10, Lost Island of Castanamir 3 out of 10, purely because there's more adventure in Lost Tomb of Martek. But what is in there isn't great. Okay, now we have I6 Ravenloft.
Garbage.
I knew Bear was going to say that.
The worst fucking ever D&D ever period ever that everybody fucking splurges over. They fucking lose their minds for this setting, this adventure, everything. Fucking hate it.
Saxius?
Well, I like aspects of it, but I like Ravenloft as a setting more. I think the module is hyped up. It's not exactly what I would consider to be worthwhile. I think that the ending that they wrote in for all of this, because chronologically, if you do it all right, all you get is a cutscene. It's a bit of an attempt of the writers trying to write a story or a book where the intent is quite clear what the outcome's meant to be doing. I prefer the 5th edition version where they redid a lot of it and gave a lot more of the options to have come out.
Chat goes on fire.
I don't care.
Hello, Joker. Okay. Now, for me, Ravenloft, I've run it 1.5 times. I've never played in it. Did I enjoy running it? Absolutely. absolutely. I had a thoroughly enjoyable experience running it. That was as much to do with the group as the adventure. It has a big place in the history of the game. Spawn the setting. It introduced the idea of a boss that would be hunting the party, which was pretty new at the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't work well in a campaign. It's very much a one-shot. Do I want to run it again? No, I've got Call of Cthulhu for that now.
I agree that it has its place in history. I don't think it holds up to where we have developed our games.
Okay. For me, it's going in the middle. I'd actually like to run the Veiled Society more than I'd like to run Ravenloft again.
I'd like to drag a cheese grater along my balls more than I'd like to run Ravenloft.
Have you ever run Ravenloft? Have you ever?
No, but I've played it like 4 fucking times, and every time it's been, I just hated it.
Okay.
Now, I will say, at the time I played it, I hated vampires. I couldn't stand vampires. I was fucking annoyed and fed up with vampires. So that could have been coloring my views of it, to be honest.
Yeah. It's a really nicely designed castle. It's beautiful to look at. Artwork's fabulous. And the way it's all put together is very, very interesting. Is it... I'm not going to say derivative, because it broke ground at the time. But I know you're feeling that vampires are a bit of a tired trope now. And it's partly due to Ravenloft that they are somewhat tired. But,
well, I blame Anne Rice, but that's just me.
Well, maybe. I rate it as an adventure very highly. But does the thought of running it again excite me? No. If I want to play a horror game, I will pick up Call of Cthulhu, and I've got a wealth of adventures that will do horror a lot better.
I mean, D&D does not do horror.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Right.
Go on.
Okay, go on, Sachi. Do you want to finish?
I was just going to say again, if it bleeds, you can kill it. That's the mentality that I come with.
I've never heard someone apply Predator logic to Ravenloft. It's quite good.
I know Ravenloft's meant to be all scary and gothic and so on, but again,
it's really not.
The group of players I have, they look at that and they laugh. They're like, it has stats. We can take it down. Just give us time, Oscar. I mean, hell, I've had players who, when I ran the 5th edition one, they just went, we're level 3, we're taking on a covenant of hacks in their full power. So we're just going to burn down the windmill that they are in. It's like, but there are children in there. Yeah, we don't care. We know where we are. We're going to do it. We want to win.
I think Michael's actually got a point here. Low-level AD&D, I think that can actually handle horror because the characters are weak. But fragility is a really important facet of a horror game. The players must be fearful of their characters' lives.
Yeah, again, but you're going into your characters. Your players need to have the investment to care for their characters.
Yes.
Again, this is where I deviate out, and my players don't, because like myself, they just see numbers and crunch, and that's how we kind of roll. So I am a bad person when it comes to horror, because I sit there and go, all right, I've seen these and these things. That means I narrow it down to this kind of monster category, blah, blah, blah. Either way, I'm delaying the thing now. Let's proceed.
Right, we're going to move on to IM1, The Immortal Storm. I played this as a player at Clericon last year.
Oh, really?
It's the one that Dungeon Minister's lad ran. Though I know he edited it, adjusted it, and switched things about a bit. So my experience of this module is based on me playing it an abbreviated version, I think it's abbreviated, at a convention. I enjoyed the session because it was something really different at the end of a convention for me. It's something I would never have tried to run myself. I'd never played Immortals level D&D. I had no real urge to play Immortals level D&D, but I wanted to try something different. And I enjoyed the session. Do I have any urge to play the adventure again? Or run it myself? No, I don't. But I enjoyed it at the time for what it was.
So when you're playing as godlike creatures?
You play as an immortal, but on Earth.
All right. I would just say play Godbound. That's what I would go for. Again, I'm going to be a bit of a naysayer.
I mean, we had fun playing it.
That's the important thing.
And the young lad, I think he looked a little bit perturbed at the way we were playing to start with all the stupid jokes, but he played into it and got into it at the end. I'm going to put it, though, here, because I have no real urge to pick it up and read it for myself, play it again. Daryl's asking you, what is Godbound?
Godbound is a game by Kevin Crawford where you play as characters who are effectively they've inherited the spirits of certain gods. So when you make your character, you select 2 to 3 specific aspects of a god. As a group, you create a pantheon, and you are in a world where effectively the powerful wizards and clerics have risen up and killed the existing gods. Their essence have dripped down, and you are now the ones who have attained this power. So you need to rise up and unify the world and become the new gods. And a level 1 character in that game is the equivalent of a level 18 or 20 character in D&D.
It sounds like the sort of thing I'd play as a one-shot but have no interest in playing as a campaign.
No, I understand that. My current group is absolutely salivating over it because there are so many mechanics around building cities, running cults, managing wider empires.
Okay. Right, next one we've got up is the Secret... Hello, Billy. Secret of Bone Hill.
What's that about?
It's a sandbox. It introduced Len Lakofka's Lendor Isles into the Greyhawk world. It effectively gives you a town and a number of NPCs and a number of adventuring sites of varying degrees of difficulty and a few hooks, and then says off you go with it. It's got more flavor than the likes of Keep on the Borderlands, for example. Even though Len Lakofka's ability to craft names for his NPCs was bloody abysmal. His names are terrible. But the actual locations are pretty good. And there's plenty going on in the town. Ristenford, I believe it is. So it's one of those where I would love to run it or have it in a setting because I haven't really given it much opportunity to be played. I've used bits of it in a campaign, but not in its entirety and not in the manner in which it was created. So it's one of those ones where I would like to run it. I think I'd like to have it as a setting. I'd like to have it as a base of adventure, and I'd like to see how it plays. Yeah, the town is good. The plot and the hooks are not. Yes, easy, but it's easy to turn into something fun without too much work. Correct. Absolutely correct. So with my criteria being how excited am I to be playing this module, Bonehill is going to go there. There's going to be a little bit of rearranging and readjusting, but for now, that's where it is. But then there's its sequel, The Assassin's Knot. I've run this twice. This is an attempt to create a D&D whodunit.
At what level?
Level 2 to 5.
All right. So you don't have Speak with Dead.
No.
All right.
Your thoughts, Bear, on a mystery adventure in D&D, whodunit?
Really not what I play D&D for.
But I think it's still like the magic you have in D&D. There's so many of them that can just circumvent a lot of it. Like, I don't know. It's just not what I would find appealing.
Okay. I think it's a worthy attempt at an adventure, but it suffers from Lakofka's writing style and inability to get information presented in an organized manner. Important details are just randomly dotted through the adventure. They're not collated anywhere. It's not easy to run, and the actual solution is somewhat tenuous. There are a few sort of cheesy get-outs to try and avoid mind-reading spells, to try and stop them being used, because it wants it to be done through investigation, through traditional investigation means, rather than various divination forms. But of course, the party are going to turn to divination. And I ran it as a 5th edition conversion for one group, and they just blitzed through it because of the way in 5th edition you can spam spells a lot more. So, do I want to run it again? I think so. I think it's worth. I think the adventure is worthy, but do I want to run it again? No. No. Doesn't excite me anymore. Yeah, Slan, you're absolutely right, and I mean, Seth is a really good guy when it comes to reading an adventure and then seeing what can be done to make it work. And I think he's absolutely right. You would seed L2 into L1 and run the two together, and that would make everything work a lot better. There's a lot of work involved, a lot of work. Hello, Gene. Hello, GM Cody. How are you doing? I like the storyline of the Assassin's Knot, and I like the planning behind it, and I like the thought that's gone into it. I just don't like the presentation and the execution. And I'd much rather run Secret of Bone Hill as is. We're just getting up to M2, or M Solo as it became known. Hello, Skagdad. And this is Maze of the Riddling Minotaur. This is one of those magic pen solo adventures. Like a choose your own adventure going around a maze for basic D&D.
What's a Minotaur?
Bull-headed human.
Oh, you mean a Minotaur? From the island of Minos. Not from the island of Minos, you fucking Brits. Thank you. Just wanted a pedantic moment.
It's not a short I. It could be Minos, as in
it
a
could be
double
Minotaur,
E sound.
but it's not Minotaur, that's for sure.
In English, it was Minotaur. In English, you say the island
Only
of
because
Minos.
Can we
you say so
please
when you
move
pull
on?
other statues. No, we cannot. We cannot move on. Yeah, I've never played a solo adventure, so I don't fucking know. Is it good?
I was about 13 when I bought it. I had fun with it when I was 13 for about 2 hours. No.
No. So long story short.
No. How many people actually run a module as is? I tried to for the purpose of reviewing them, but nowadays, if it's for the purpose of a review, I will do my best to run at least sections of it as is and see how it all works together, if it makes sense. But if I'm running it, if I'm seeding it into a campaign, no, it can go all over the place. Bloodstone Pass. I have never run it. I used to own it. I've never run it. Yeah, exactly, Peter. Exactly. Right. Midnight on Dagger Alley. This had a magic viewer. This is another solo one. It had a magic viewer and then red pieces of acetate sort of thing, that plastic that you hold over the text so you can read what's underneath. You play a thief. It's a solo adventure, and you sort of the text is all hidden by this sort of red, and you hold this red sheet over it so you can read the text underneath, so it filters, and then it'll say go to 10, so you go to number 10 and you read it using this viewer.
Sounds a bit gimmicky.
Yes. It was about 8 pages long. It had 3 possible routes through, depending on which character type you picked. It was utterly devoid of atmosphere, and despite being very, very short, it was still very monotonous and boring. It is one of the very worst products that TSR ever put out. It's an absolute turd. So, hopefully something better. Against the Cult of the Reptile God.
Love it.
I do as well.
I even love the 4E bastardization they did of it. Against the Cult of Chaos.
Oh. Do you know this one, Saxius?
I know of it. I can't say I've read a whole lot of it about it. I think like the end boss is like a vampiric lizard man.
No, that's Tomb of the Lizard King. You think of Tomb of the Lizard King.
Okay, then yeah, I know nothing of it then.
This is a low-level weed the cult out of the village type adventure. And the title and the title of it gives it away. It's an absolute rip roarer of an adventure. Tons of NPCs, a really nice town, really good plot woven in there, good dungeon at the end. People criticize it for its overuse of NPCs because a low-level party is going to need help from one of them to have a hope in hell. But it's a lot of fun. It's up to the DM to use the NPCs as and when needed. It's a lot of fun. It's in the End series, the Novice series. I did a short review of this recently, and what I said in that was it is the most stupid adventure to put in the End series, because it's neither a novice adventure for players or DMs. To get the best out of it, you want a really good DM, and you've got to have clever players, because it's an absolute death trap. But
go on.
I mean, that's why I think I gave it 8 or 8.5 out of 10 on my review, but I actually like it a lot more than that. It has a few flaws. I'm, as a DM, I am thoroughly willing to forgive it its flaws. Some people might not, but for me, it's one of my favorite adventures. And if someone said to me, John, I'd like to play against the Cult of the Reptile God, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. It's wonderful.
But I do recommend checking out the 4th edition Cult of Chaos, where they sort of adapted Reptile God and made it less Reptile God. I think there's another module they combined it with. I don't know. But it's very good. Very, very good. It was one of their playtest modules for 4E, and it was really good. And you can convert it to whatever edition you like to play.
Cool. Look what's coming now.
The greatest module ever written.
I think it has to be said that if I put this anywhere else than there, I would lose all credibility. I never want to see a no, I don't. I never want to see a single word of this adventure ever again. Which annoys me because I still haven't done my short review of it because I'm doing a short series of all the reviews I've ever done, and it's actually next on my list, my short series. So I do have to actually open up the PDF to copy and paste a few pictures. It's absolute shit. It's the worst edited, worst plotted, worst designed, worst written module ever in the history of gaming. It's a shocker. You must own it, Pedar. You must own it, because if you don't own it, don't even think about playing it or running it. Just read it for the laugh. Yes, after how great N1 was, N2 was even more terrible. It's a shocker. Okay, N4, Treasure Hunt. Arguably the first proper novice module in the N series. I never played N3. Either of you guys ever seen this one?
Nope.
It was released in 1987. And this, it shipwrecked a group of 0-level characters on an island. And they had to use what they found on the island to try and get them to themselves to safety and get themselves off the island. They were normal human beings. And the idea was that how they went about trying to get off the island and dealing with the various denizens of the island and what sort of tactics and skills they attempted to use would define what character class they became when they became first level. Thus, it is very low level. It's linear. There are sections that are too empty. The rules for going from level 0 to level 1 are pretty good, but you've got to be a bit loosey-goosey with I suggest loosening them up a bit. But the single biggest problem with it is the adventure just isn't particularly interesting. I think the idea is great, but the adventure isn't particularly interesting. It's hard to make an adventure for normal people particularly very interesting. Do I want to run it again? Not particularly. Does it deserve to be in the bottom tier? No. I'm going to put it there. So I think it has merit, but I'm not enthused by it. Tomb of Horrors.
Oh, God. Overrated.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Exceptionally overrated.
Saxius, Tomb of Horrors.
I've done my time with it. We, as a hobby, have moved beyond it. Like I really just don't see. Like, I get it's the whole thing of like, it's a killer dungeon. Go in there. Everything will murder you. Cool. I don't pick up D&D to play a Warhammer 40k game. Like, I don't expect to go in there and like, right, here's my binder of about 2 inches thick of nothing but NPCs and characters. I'm just gonna keep throwing at the problem, because eventually there's gonna be more bodies than there are than you've got spells, and I will win. I will approach it to the point where it just goes, you know what? I'll just keep on coming up with more. You make time go by. The crypt thing resets everything. That's fine. I will just do other things. I'll just start doing things that I won't play characters. I'm just going to go to the point where I just need to get through it. If that means I need to tunnel under it, if I need to burrow across it, if I need to do something else, I'm just going to start doing that. Because that's what I've had players do. Not in Tomb of
the
Horrors.
third time we entered the Tomb of Horrors, we purchased from town 120 or something hunting dogs.
Yeah.
And then basically at the door, the entrance, when we're in the tomb, we released them. We made like a thunderclap or something behind them to scare them all down and run away from us. So they would trigger all the traps for the first 50 feet.
Yeah.
They were like, well, we've got no dogs left. Let's keep going. And that's the problem with Tomb of Horrors. It's not role-playing. It's not tactical thinking. It's just Gary hated people bragging about their characters, so he made a killer dungeon. Whoopty shit.
Before we get to where I'm putting Tomb of Horrors on my list, thank you, Skagdad.
Thank you.
Great to see you three together again, Old Geek. Have you ever used a MERP module in another game such as D&D?
Have you ever used a D&D module in a MERP campaign?
I have used ideas from D&D modules in my MERP campaign. Have I done one directly? No. I've used ideas from MERP modules in D&D games. Have I ever used one directly? No. I think the issue is with the MERP modules, the adventuring sites tend to be quite small. And when I was playing D&D in my teens, we liked these sort of self-contained adventures. We used a lot of modules because we were scattered over a city. We used to get together to play a module. We didn't have a campaign going because our playing schedule was completely erratic. It might be once one year, every other weekend the next year. We were just teenagers. It would take often 2 hours for us all to meet up and get to somebody's house. That's how scattered we were. So the idea of having these cohesive adventures with like a setting and a small dungeon nearby that somebody had converted. I look back now and I think I should have approached that more and used MERP for those sort of sessions, but I didn't. I think they would have worked. And in fact, it's something I think I might do a bit more of. You've just got to really change the locations so people don't realize that it's all in Middle Earth. There's a lot of great ideas in the MERP modules. A lot of great ideas. But thank you, Skagdad. Thank you for the question. Yeah, it is just how British Rail is.
I can't see over the super chat. It's
there we go. There we go. Yeah, Skagdad, you did get to hide bear for 2 minutes.
Isn't that nice? You got to take my ugly mug off the screen. Be proud. Be noble.
Now, Michael, I tend to agree with you here rather than my panel on S1, because my memories of Tomb of Horrors, drama between the players. Yes.
Yeah, but was it in character drama or was it player drama?
It's both.
Yeah.
It's both.
Sure. Rose-colored memories. I get it.
Yeah. I've run Tomb of Horrors twice. I like it. Would I run it again? Yeah. I know Ernie Noah recently ran it on my channel for a group of the regulars who'd never played it before. You had Daniel, you had Iman, you had Joker, and they chewed through characters.
Daniel died by falling asleep. Iman died by trying to role play with a pillar. Joker died by trying to pronounce the secret passcode to get through the room, but the thing couldn't understand him as he's yelling at it like a Scotsman in a voice-activated lift. Yeah, we get it. Yeah.
Yes.
I could see it.
But for me, Tomb of Horrors, it's that sort of one where I think it's a perfect one-shot. I like puzzle dungeons. I like... I'm going to put it there.
Can you imagine Saxius running Tomb of Horrors?
Oh, I think it'd be glorious.
The horrors being like you find a box of like unalphabetized tax returns, things like those are the horrors that you find,
I'd get out proper math problems and be like, have fun, kids. You learned this in school. I know it because my wife's a teacher. It doesn't. Sometimes it's just pain for pain's sake. That's how I see Tomb of Horror.
For those who, yeah, it can be. I like it. I like it. I respect its place in the hobby. Do I put it in my own top 10? Depends how I feel on the day. Do I want to run it for a group right now more than these ones are above it in this section? Actually, I don't. So that's what it's going to be. If anyone's wondering where Daniel is at the moment, yep, indeed, Bear's going to disappear for a moment. Our beloved Daniel was a character witness in court today.
Yes, it's hilarious.
He's probably still there. Right, White Plume Mountain. Bear, it's a fun house.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
Doesn't the players get a whole bunch of like amazing items, and then at the end someone pops up and goes, "Yeah, I'll take care of those. Thank you very much."
Absolutely, absolutely.
What? Just get a life, get a girlfriend.
It is. It make right, the creation of, for those who don't know, White Plume Mountain was created with the writer Lawrence Schick sent in a submission to TSR of a number of rooms that he had designed, inventive puzzles, strange locations, creative use of creatures, that sort of thing. And they hired him, and they published what he'd sent as White Plume Mountain. He did not expect it all to go into one adventure and be published together, but that's what you got. It has it makes no real sense, but those puzzles are a lot of fun, and I'm going to say yah-boo to these pair of killjoys here.
Okay.
Because I love it. I love White Plume Mountain.
Disney D&D sounds like a lot of fun, yeah.
It's nothing to do. No, it's brutally hard. It's nasty.
Oh, okay. Sorry, old school Disney D&D. My apologies.
Yeah.
I'd like my games to make sense. Coming into a funhouse D&D game does not make sense to me.
I thoroughly enjoy it. And there's a reason why it is beloved. And if someone said, Geek, can we play White Plume Mountain tomorrow? I'm going to put it right there. It goes in my top tier.
That's amazing.
I know. It's my list. I say, look, I am always right sometimes.
All right, calm down, Dolly.
I do like chaos. Okay, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
Oh, God. When I was a teenager, I thought it was cool. Then I grew up and realized it was stupid and moved on with my life.
No idea what it's about again. Remind me,
It's a crashed spaceship in the Barrier Peaks, and you got to go explore the dungeon of the crashed spaceship, but you can't use proper terminology to describe things because players will figure out it's a spaceship. So you got to come up with like the most asinine descriptions of everything that don't quite hint it's a spaceship. Like, oh, fucking stupid.
I ran it live. I ran 4 sessions of it live on my Friday night streams.
And how'd you feel about it afterwards?
I never want to see it again. I understand
sci-fi and D&D. This is not it.
I understand. I mean, when I did a review of it, I gave it 6 out of 10 because it is imaginative. A lot of thought's been put into it, and I can see it having an appeal for a certain side of the hobby. I think for somebody who likes to mix the fantasy and the sci-fi, then it can work. But for me, how much do I want to run it again? I don't. I don't. Goes in the bottom tier. I mean, some of these might end up moving up to the tier. Obviously, I've numbered these here. I know. I mean, Slan's a fan of it. I could never have run it without Slan's reworked maps of it. Slan made the maps understandable. Thank you, Slan. Lost Caverns of Sojkanth.
Fucking love it.
The ultimate fun monster menagerie that you can just play with and have fun with, and it's a big beast of an adventure.
And fuck that Bodak.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah,
Don't know
love
what
it.
it is.
Top tier.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Bear. I totally agree with
Great
you.
adventure. Never
It is.
completed it. We kept dying.
But it's wonderful, isn't it? It's got so much potential in there. Again, the DM does have to bring it to life, but even the exploration part of it, it's compelling. It's good. It's just good fun. It's what D&D is about. I think it's got plenty of fun house, Michael. I think it's got plenty of fun house. It's got lots of new monsters as well. It's great. Right.
Fucking Bodak.
Yes. Yes. Village of Homlet.
Without the Temple of Elemental Evil, it's a waste of fucking time. And how many years later did the Temple of Elemental Evil come out?
5? 6?
Yeah. What a wonderful fucking adventure.
Okay. Have you ever done Saxes? Have you ever done
The closest thing I got to it was the video game that they did for Temple of Elemental Evil.
Very good. Very good video.
I couldn't read English, so I didn't. I couldn't. Yeah. So that's the experience for a lot of my early video games, is that I can't read it. I just have to intuitively. I have to learn that new game means start gaming, and then load game is find the game where you last played.
Wow.
That's peek into the life when you don't speak the language.
Wow,
Gene, you referring to Village of Homlet or or Sojkanth for the layout being terrible? Village of Homlet for me is, I think it is a classic for a reason. The town is really, really good. The moat house, a little generic, but as a starter adventuring location, it works very well. Oh, T1. Yeah, I mean, yes, the numbers don't follow particularly correctly. Its presentation is very dated. It does take a bit of unpicking. Do I want to run it again? I'm gonna say, yeah. I like Village of Homlet, and we're going to come to Temple of Elemental Evil in a moment. I'm going to put Village of Homlet about there. I rate it higher, but I have run it not all that long ago. I don't have the excitement about it to put it in top tier at the moment. Okay, I'd like to hear your opinions on Temple of Elemental Evil then, chaps.
Never played it. I wanted to buy it. It was a nice looking book, but never did.
Saxius.
No. There's again, I don't. I know of it. To be honest, I don't really know the story of it. It's again one of those of I know everyone raves about it. Bearing in mind, I was limited for what I could buy, being one in Denmark, and two, I then moved to China, so I couldn't exactly get a hold of the AD&D, and three, I was born in the early 90s. We were moving into a third edition by the time I was getting into the hobby.
Okay. Now it contains all of the village of Homlet, and then it goes into the cesspit that is Nulb, which is a nearby town, and then you've got the behemoth that is the temple itself. I've used the Nulb section. I've run the village of Homlet a couple of times, and I've used the Nulb section from this. I have zero interest in using the temple. Zero. As people are saying in chat at the moment, the sheer volume of work that a DM has to put in to get this adventure functional is astronomical. And Gene, I completely agree with you regarding losing interest while reading it, because I did. Nulb is only a couple of pages. Hang on, this is meant to be a seedy town with river pirates and thieves. What a complete waste. What a complete waste. How much do I want to run it again? How much do I want to play with it? I don't. Play the Village of Homlet, forget the rest of it. The Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. Michael says the work's worth it. One of, if not the most successful games ever run. Fair enough. There's other things I want to do with my time. Have you ever played Saltmarsh, Saxius?
No.
You're missing out.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I don't. I make my own modules. I make my own campaigns.
Okay. It's a haunted house. It's got that initial sort of Scooby-Doo whodunit sort of creepy feel at the start. A nervous, weak, low-level party going into a haunted house, thinking there's probably going to be a lot more there than there actually is on the surface.
Yeah, it's a Scooby-Doo adventure.
But underneath is a lovely little plot unfolding. It's beautifully paced. The descriptions in there, the design is second to none, because it's the pacing of the adventure that gets me. Because when shit hits the fan, it really does. The DM is encouraged to have the occupants of the house moving around, trying to confuse the party once they realize they're there. And there's tons of detail in the house that the party can then use against them. And it's the adventure where I've had possibly two of the most ingenious solutions to problems that I've ever had. It says in the adventure that this ring of mushrooms they're just harmless. There's a ring of mushrooms growing in a moldy room. I decided to give them mild narcotic properties. I thought that'd be fun. When the party discovered the smugglers, they went and got they realized the mushrooms were narcotics, and they put all these mushrooms in the smugglers' beer supply, which made for a lot of some highly entertaining sessions. And the other one was there was a vat of rot grubs in the cellar. And my party, when they realized the smugglers were using this tight, cramped staircase to get up to the cellar, they pushed the vat of rot grubs over to the door. And as the party were climbing the stairs, they shoved it over and just covered the smugglers in rot grubs, which was just a wonderful scene, in my opinion. And this was a hack and slash party. I'm thinking, oh, you're being clever for a change. You're being clever. I love it. I love the adventure. I think it's the best low-level adventure ever written. And those who are regulars to my channel will know exactly where this is going to go.
Up your bum?
Up my bum, yes, yes. Number 1. It's the adventure I have run more than any other, and I would jump the chance to run it again for people who don't know it. Wonderful. Truly wonderful. Danger at Dunwater, the second part of the series. Take it, if you guys don't really know Salt Marshal that well, you won't know this one.
No.
No. Okay. It's a lair of lizard men. It's a really nicely designed lair, really good environment, a really well constructed tribe with little factions in the tribe, and it gives the creatures personality. It gives them a purpose. The problem is an intelligent party having just finished the first adventure, and you've got to be decent, you've got to be good to finish that first adventure because the last section is tough, will unpick what is really going on in no time at all, and the whole thing will be wasted. The whole thing will be wasted. Do I ever want to? I think as a source book for a lizard man lair, it's really good. That's why I gave it a 6 out of 10 rating. But do I want to run it again? Absolutely not. It's a shame. It's a real shame. I have the most jaded and unhappy panel right now.
Yep.
Well, we're into a section.
Go on.
You've had enough, have you? You've had enough.
I just can't add anything because a lot of these are. Again, I've not touched any of the modules really, so what I can give for input is very limited.
That's true. That's true. James says Dunwater's okay, but part 3 is god awful. Okay. Well, part 3 is where the party have worked out that the real enemy is a tribe of Sargin. Much more deadly than the lizard men. Much more evil. And the lair is really done and quite disturbing in places. It is an absolute beast to run. It's a monster of an adventure. It's complex. There's tons of moving parts. The party might number 20 plus with all the allies they could have picked up along the way. And it's absolutely horrifically difficult. Do I want to run it again? No, I don't. Even less so than Danger at Dunwater. I think it's a good. I disagree with James here, and I think it's a good adventure. I think it closes the series really well. Do I want to run it again? No. No, I don't. Done my time with it. Too much effort. Right. We're into the UK series now.
Yay!
Have you read any of these, chaps?
Number 1, my favorite module of all time, Beyond the Crystal Cave.
This is the one, is it, Bear?
That's the one. My number 1 all-time, hands down favorite fucking game module.
I thought you didn't like whimsy and silliness.
It's not whimsy and silly. It's actually disturbingly horrific. And
correct. Yeah, it's got horror undertones underneath the whimsical surface.
Yep.
It is dark, and the party have to be ready to think their way out of trouble quite seriously. You go in there waving swords and axes, you're fucked. Simple as that. Is it for everybody? No. Is it quite short? I'm afraid it is a little bit short.
Not if you do it properly.
Yeah, I've had a party complete it in one long session, 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's on the short side, but I think it is a very worthy adventure, with limited appeal though. Oh, Michael agrees with you. An odd alignment with Bear.
So much fun being the weird one.
Yes. Yeah. And do I really want to run it again? Yes, I do. Is it my favorite adventure of all time? No, it isn't. But is it good? Absolutely, it is. Absolutely.
The 4th edition remake was really good too.
Yeah. It's well presented. It's well written. It's well thought out. Okay, it's Romeo and Juliet in disguise.
Yep.
But who cares?
It's not even in disguise. It's pretty obvious.
Okay, it's obvious, isn't it? It's obvious. Yeah. But it works. It works, doesn't it? It works. Right. Any of the other UK ones you know? About the Sentinel?
No, never ran the others. I just know that one.
Okay, all right. I think I'm on my own with these because Saxon's looking blank at these as well.
None of these really.
Yeah.
Right, the Sentinel, UK 2, the first official TSR product to contain the acronym THACO. A very pleasant, somewhat gentle little adventure. It has some presentation issues in terms of its artwork, as you can see from the cover, but the writing is sublime. The only issue, and it's a very natural feeling environment. In fact, there are aspects of the environment I think that Saxius might like. The adventure itself isn't especially exciting, but it serves a purpose. I would love to run it again for one reason only, and we'll come to that in a moment. The Sentinel holds a dear place in my heart that is probably a little more than it deserves as a standalone adventure, but I'm going to put it up in this category here. In fact, I'm going to put it in terms of being excited to run it again there. The reason why I'm excited to run it again is the Gauntlet, the follow-up to it. It's a 2-part series involving two competing artifacts, the Sentinel and the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet, if it's got a weakness, is that it is quite short. But in that time, you will be exploring the most natural feeling environment in terms of a dungeon imaginable. This is a defensible keep. It is designed to be a defensible keep with murder holes and all that sort of lovely stuff in the keep. And the players had better damn well have worked out how this keep is laid out, because there is a siege that the players have to defend the keep against an army. And it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
You keep using that word.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Plus, it's got a lot of gnolls in it that are in various states of intoxication, which can provide you with a lot of fun. Plus, it's got some puzzles, some really good fights. And I'm going to put the Gauntlet there. It's a masterpiece.
You say so, sir. I'll take your word for it.
Yes. Yeah. If your DM has underplayed them, then yeah, that is a shame, Michael, because they're great modules. They're great modules when played together. By itself, the Sentinel can be a bit flat. If it leads into the Gauntlet, it's wonderful. Right, the next one is When a Star Falls. This is a module I reviewed twice. I gave it a really good review the first time, and I dropped my score the second time when I put my objective head on it. My subjective head puts it much higher. Hello, Marcelo. My subjective head puts it right near the top, because in terms of attention to detail and lovely little plot elements and things that add flavor to an adventure, this has got them all. Yes, it's a little bit linear, but there's tons of role playing. The combat, when it happens, it matters. It's memorable. The environments are beautiful. The setup is fantastic. Any adventure where I've got an excuse to hurl bits of paper at my players when it starts, all of which have got little memories on them for them to work out, is a good one in my book. It's just that whenever I've run it, I think I've done it a bit of a disservice. I think it's gone a little flat when I've run it, unfortunately. But hey ho, that might be on me. Might be on me underplaying things, which would be a shame. Would I like to run it again? Absolutely. Eye of the Serpent. This is the last of the UK series that I've actually run and played. A very worthy idea. A wilderness adventure for a party of 4 first-level characters. It's unique in that sense. It's good for druids and rangers. It's got a really nice environment, really good details. The way it describes the descent from the mountain that the players need to undertake, various routes, is really well done. There are seeds in there to make it exciting. Well, to give it more impetus, but it never grabbed me. I've used it tons. I've used it a shed load. It's really useful for starting off a campaign as a good, solid, low-level wilderness crawl. But I'd like to have seen more, a little bit more to drive the players, a little bit more to drive the characters, a bit more interaction, a few more NPCs. And we've lost Bear. Bear has disappeared. Oh,
He had to run.
Oh, okay. Shit. Okay, he's got to run. Things have happened. Okay. No problem. And the problem with Eye of the Serpent, I have run it plenty of times, and I'm not excited to run it again. It's going to go there. As an adventure and how it's designed, it's better than that. I just don't find it exciting.
That's fair enough.
I've never run any Judges Guild adventures. Right. Saxius, do you know anything about the Forgotten Temple of Tharizdun?
I think you need to see my previous answers.
Okay, you don't know this one. Okay.
I don't know. To make it easier for you, I don't know anything about any of the remaining modules.
None of these expert ones either.
See my previous answer.
Okay, no problem. Right.
Like, it's just going to be that repeat. I do not know anything.
What do you like most about Red Hand of Doom?
So the enthusiasm that you have for Gauntlet, but extrapolated, because it is a full-scale invasion that you as
Mhm.
players have to deal with from the early stages. You have to do intelligence gathering. You have to do covert attacks against the invading legion. I mean, it's technically 2 legion sized, about 10,000 that hobgoblins that comes at you. So you have to do things to slow them down because you can't stop them. You have to go out and acquire allies. You have to role play. You have to do strategic assassinations.
Okay.
There are a multitude of moments where you have to make decisions because you have to go A or B. You cannot do both. And yeah, there is just a whole lot, and it all accumulates up to this big Helm's Deep Minas Tirith showdown where you are going to like have to fall back step by step by step. And at the final bit, you face off your whichever characters you haven't been able to assassinate or kill. They fight you, and then you go through, and every single action or lack of action that you've done throughout the game is tallied up. If you do not meet the criteria, it means that you've not been proactive enough. And then you either have a second battle because you're going to be attacked again, or the kingdom you're trying to help loses. And the final chapter is then you having to do a last ditch, desperate attack of running behind the enemy's territory to kill their leader before they can win.
So it's big and involving.
It's massive. And it is the kind of game where I would genuinely sit the players down and say, you're not here to fuck around. This is a serious campaign where I will do things where if you choose to play idiots, this will not just have consequences for you in the medium terms. It will have consequences towards the very end where you can actually trip up your entire team from winning. So don't come into this game and not bringing your A game. Because that's the level of like, do not fuck around to find out kind of thing. This is.
I mean, Forgotten Temple of Tharizdun is an adventure which requires you to bring your A game. It's on a much smaller scale. Let me describe the premise of it. It ties in with Lost Caverns of Sojkanth in that there is a gnome veil that the party can find in Lost Caverns. They can befriend the gnomes. And it can become like a base camp.
Yeah.
And the gnomes can be helpful if befriended. Now, if they befriend the gnomes will tell the players that there be humanoids that have been raiding them. And this section of the mountains, I think it's to the west of where Sojkanth is based. And deep in those mountains is a humanoid base. Now, the wilderness section in Tharizdun is a bit crap. No, it's nowhere near on the same level as the one in Sojkanth. But the base that the humanoids have is the temple. It's the eponymous temple.
Right.
And the humanoids are currently occupying the upper levels of the temple. And they've got it fortified. And you've got a wide mix of humanoids. They're being led by a mountain giant. And first thing the players have got to do when they get to the temple is get in there. And the fight to get in, with waves of humanoids coming in from all manner of angles, they've set up all sorts of defensive traps. It's a fantastic battle. A really, really good battle where the players have got to be thinking about what they're doing.
Yep.
Because they are heavily outnumbered. Things are getting at them from multiple angles. They might well be caught in nets. Creatures will be throwing nets at them. That sort of thing. It's one of those sort of fights. When it all calms down, and the party have sort of dealt with the threat of the humanoids, beneath where the humanoids have been living is a temple to a long dead god. A god so dark and so utterly evil that the lore is that all the other gods of Greyhawk, good and evil, united to banish all memory of this god from the land. And thus the players are drawn into the lower levels of the temple. And it is a nightmarish dungeon with Lovecraftian elements.
Right.
Real sort of that sort of Lovecraftian feel to it. And there is an inner sanctum area to that god, which is dark and frigid and wonderfully atmospheric. It's that contrast. The module itself is badly edited, badly presented, fairly horribly thrown together, a pain in the arse to prepare, but it's absolutely bloody marvelous. Because you've got those contrasts. You've got those contrasts. You've got those and they work. They really, really work. And for me, despite its flaws, as we scroll, sorry about this, I've had to do it this way so that people can see the pictures properly. It goes right up there alongside Lost Caverns of Sargekanth. I'd love to run the two combined together again. Fantastic. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. In fact, I'm going to put it there.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. Really, really, really good. Right, we're into the X series. You'll see I've got another slave pitch at the end of the city. Unfortunately, I accidentally saved 2 copies of the cover and uploaded 2 copies of the cover. We'll ignore this one. Isle of Dread. Dinosaurs in D&D, Sax.
Well, so I know of the Island of Dread. I just don't see the appeal of it.
Don't you?
No.
A sandbox exploration with potential allies on the island. Lots of room for expansion. Lots of space to develop. Tribes you can work with. Evil entities and dinosaurs. The reason I'm going to put this so high is I last ran this when I was 12 years old and I hadn't got a bloody clue. I would love to run it for an adult group, but one of my players bought it and thus I couldn't run it. So for me, Isle of Dread comes in about here. Would love to run it again.
Isn't it out on like print on demand as well?
It is. Yeah, I've got it. I've got the original somewhere.
All right.
It's on my shelf somewhere. So it's actually the first module I ever owned because I bought the Mensa Red Box set, which didn't come with a module, and I bought the Moldvay Cook pale blue expert set, not realizing there were different iterations of the basic game, and I got the blue Isle of Dread version with that. Castle Amber.
Isn't that another Funhouse one?
Absolutely, with a French theme to it, and lots of silliness and a bit of horror as well, because it's sort of adventure that you really can torment the players with certain horrific things happening, as well as lots of daftness as well. For me, I think it is possibly the best of the expert modules. Love to run it again. I've never run it with basic or expert rules. I did a 5th edition conversion of it, and it worked seamless, worked beautifully. But I'd like to run it as a proper expert adventure. Right. It's really, really good. Really, really inventive. Hello, Off-Grid Gamer. Hello, Robert. We peaked on 30 people watching this stream. 30 people. So this is what I've got so far. As I've said to people, if you watch my reviews, you'll see that scores don't quite match my rankings, because my scores, my reviews I give are somewhat objective. This is purely subjective now, how much I like it. Master of the Desert Nomads. Again, Saxius doesn't really know this one. It's linear. But you know what? In this case, linear works. And there are a couple of dodgy encounters, but the evil abbey at the end is bloody marvelous. And it's going to go... No, it's going to go higher than that. How much do I want to run it again? About there. Love it. Love it. Everyone loves these modules except my panel. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yep. Very much.
Very
much.
Castle could indeed dovetail with Ravenloft. Yeah, I mean, Pedar says here, it's not Castle is not so much a funhouse as something that delves into the surreal. Rooms that don't make sense size-wise, crazy NPCs. Yes. It's got a lot of role-playing potential. Right, Temple of Death. The follow-up to Master of the Desert Nomads. I reviewed them pretty much together and gave them the same rating, but how much do I want to run Temple of Death compared to the others? Not as much. Nowhere near as much. I don't think it's anywhere near as... Even though it's not as linear, I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Master of the Desert Nomads. It's just not as epic. Quest for the Heartstone. Ever heard of that one?
See my previous answer.
This module is Quest for the Heartstone. Trademark. Buy these toys. Which you can... These stand-up figures that you could use for these encounters in Quest for the Heartstone. Buy these toys. Spend money. Buy more toys. See our range of stand-up figures. Absolute steaming turd. Steaming turd.
I mean, it's not really any different than what we're seeing these days.
No, it's just a real cash in. Yeah. Quest for the Heartstone, I don't think it was a UK one. No, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't. The UK Beckme one was B10. B10, Night's Dark Terror, was written by the UK team. And there was another one as well. Oh, one I haven't played. One of the solo-y ones. General Nut said you DM'd it and liked it. Well, I've never DM'd it. I played it. I hated it. Right, these next ones are the Thunder Rift ones that the lovely Gingerbeard ran for us not all that long ago on the Discord channel. These are very short adventures. They worked for the purpose of our casual little group on a Saturday afternoon. Do they encourage me to buy them? To run them? No. Did we have fun in them? Of course we did. And I enjoyed them. But I'm not going to rate them particularly highly because they were so short. Probably somewhere around here. I thought Night of Newts was dangerous, entertaining. Quest for the Silver Sword was forgettable. But my favourite of the three, because of how it played out, was Sword and Shield. I enjoyed the jousting in that. That was good fun. So, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah, the UK ones, Pedar, there was the UK series was written, UK 1 to UK 7. There was U1, 2, and 3 were written by the UK team. There was Ravager of Time, I8, was written by the UK team. and B10, Night's Dark Terror, and there was one other one, Sword of something or other, expert solo adventure with an elf on the cover. And there might have been another one that I can't remember off the top of my head. Right, so let's zoom out. This is my entire list now of how much I personally want to play these again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1st to 12th. So that's 12. So at number 1, since Secret of Saltmarsh, going down 12th place against the Giants. Here we move Tomb of Horrors into 25th place, which makes it nice and even there. So there's your 13th to 24th. In the UK series, our torches really flashlights. I suppose in a modern day adventure, yeah, but then no, flashlights are really torches. 25th to 36th. Yep, I've got 12 in there quite neatly. Right, I sadly have to move some of the trash up here. I mean, it's unfair to call U2 and U3 trash. They're only down here because I don't want to run them again. Because I don't think I'm not excited by running them again because they've got flaws, though I think U3 closes the series really well. But to get to U3, you've got to go through U2, which the more I've played it, the more I've run it, it's beautifully written as a source for getting a really nice feeling lair, a good tribe. The structure's great. It just doesn't work as an adventure. It doesn't work as an adventure at all. Oh, the pain of having to move Castanamere up to there. Ugh. Oh, the pain of having to move Barrier Peaks up to there. In fact, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to swap it. I'm going to put Temple of Elemental Evil there. In 48th place. There we go. Hello, Jason. No, I've dropped Barrier Peaks down again. So, nah. You two are indeed overrated. Yes. Did we miss the D series? I've never run them. That's the problem. My party died in G3. So I never got to run D1, 2, or D3, which is really annoying. It's one of the reasons why I've got G3 up here as one that I really want to run a game, because I want to get a party organically into the D series, which I've never done. And I want to run H1, Bloodstone Pass, at the end of the D series. Again, never done it. So I can't introduce it.
But is that because you want to organically get there?
Yes.
Okay.
They're high level adventures.
Have you considered just biting the bullet and saying we're starting at this level, now we're doing it?
The problem I have with that is these modules are so tough that I want the players to approach them with care. I want them to be played properly. I want them to be attached to their characters and not be all gung-ho. Right. I think that's how you get the best out of them.
This is down for flavor. If that's what you want out of your games, sure. Again, speaking from my groups, that's not how my group runs. They will slap together the numbers, and they'll start high, they'll start low, and they'll approach it the same way. But then again, I like that, so I don't see a problem with saying, right, make characters of level 12. We're now going to be doing a module, or we're going to be doing this from here to here. I mean, we tried to do a level 1 to level 20 campaign, and I got to level 15 or 16, I think. which was good. We had plans of then going into the Underdark and then going out into the outer worlds, but at that point I was just burned out by running Pathfinder, and I'd been doing that for like
I
a
can
year and a half,
understand that.
almost. Yeah, year and a half, 2 years of that. I was like, no, don't want to do that anymore.
Pedar, the reason why I haven't done Night's Dark Terror is I didn't buy it first time round because I didn't know much about it, and I'd moved away from basic D&D into AD&D. I was still collecting all the AD&D stuff, and I bought modules like Conan Unchained and Lost Island of Castanamere and Castle Greyhawk, and that put me off. Those adventures put me off spending more money on TSR products, and thus I missed out on it first time round. I learnt about it. I learnt what it involves, what sort of the scope of it, and then my DM that was running us through Horror on the Hill offered to run it for us. So I was like, okay, I would love to play in that. We never got round to it. So at the moment, it's one of those where I'd love to play it, but if I have to, in order to get it going, if I have to read it myself and run it, then I intend to one day. It's just one I've missed out on, but I know why people love it, and I know how much there is in there and how deep and involving a mini campaign it is. So it's one of the ones I'd love to play. And one of the things about being an eternal DM, a lot of these adventures I've never played. I've always been the DM who's run them. I'll tell you which ones I played. I played Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. I played The Lost City. I started Castle Amber several times as a player and died repeatedly. I've never played. I've been the DM for a lot of the others. Looking on the next row, I've been a player in precisely none of the next row. I played started the Veil Society a couple of times, never finished it because my mate bought all the B series, and so I was playing in those. I was collecting the AD&D stuff. He was collecting the basic and expert stuff. So I've played more B modules than I have actually played AD&D modules. Horror on the Hill, I've been a player in. Palace of the Silver Princess, I've been a player in. The Knight of Newts, I was a player in. Immortal Storm, I was a player in. Sword and Shield, Quest for the Silver Sword, I was a player in. I played through Maze of the Riddling Minotaur because it's a solo adventure. I was a player in Dragons of Despair, and I was a player in Quest for the Heartstone and the solo adventure Midnight and Dagger Alley. So those are the ones I've been a player in. But as a DM, it's the other one, all the other ones, and some of them multiple times. So there you go. There's my list of. It's just generally how much I would like to run them. That is the criteria. How excited I would be if 5 of you in chat got together in Discord and went, John, can you run this module for us? I'd be like, yeah, with some of them and with others. Which is fair. It's a fair way of justifying whether you like something or not.
I mean, it's like the saying, the customer's always right in the matters of taste and fashion.
Yeah. But always wrong in everything else. It's to be honest, it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment, isn't it? Because
well, no, I mean, what are you gonna? You can't tell someone that something isn't looking good on them. That's their taste. You can't tell them that something doesn't taste nice to them. That's their taste. They can be wrong with IT. They can be wrong with everything else. But like in matters of taste and fashion, the customer can be as right as they want to be because they're the one buying it. They're the one.
They are. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
That is
so
true.
like in that sense, like there's no argument really in everything else, because again, people take the first part, the customer's always right, and it's like there's more to that
Yeah.
saying.
There is
It's
more
not,
to it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Right. So there is my list, chat. And none of you dived in. None of you clicked that link that I pinned at the top to scream at me. I wonder if Slan has gone off in a huff because I dropped S3 down a tier at the end. I know he loves that adventure. But people might disagree. I mean, there are a lot of people who rate the Temple of Elemental Evil. I think it was Michael Stronghold said he thoroughly enjoyed running it. It's not for me. There are people who've liked Castanamere. It's one of my Castanamere review is one of my most downvoted reviews because people disagreed with me. But I have my opinion on it, and I dislike the adventure. But I would prefer to run it tomorrow than, for example, Lost Tomb of Martek or Conan Unchained or Expedition to Barrier Peaks. That's all right, Slan. Yeah. Yes, Jeb. No worries. I know about your work issues when it comes to everything. But yeah, Michael, you're right. Group dynamic plays a bigger. I'm going to say now, I ran a live game of the Forest Oracle just so everyone can see how bad it was. But you know what? Because we were laughing at the adventure as I was running it, and because I was trying to run it as is to highlight the absurdity of it, we had fun. We still had fun. So it is down to your group. I mean, do I ever want to read Forest Oracle ever again? No. It stewed my mind. It made me feel stupid. But hey ho, it is the worst adventure ever written for a reason. Exactly, Jeb. You can make any adventure fun with the right group. Oh, I'll keep on the Borderlands. Yeah, I did play. Of course, I've played in a session of Keep on the Borderlands at Sean's house in Canada. So I have played a session of Keep on the Borderlands. There's another one I have played a bit. Yeah, I rag on B9 because I read it, and reading it is enough for me to turn around and go, oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. And I get what Sean says about it, saying that it has actually played out okay for his groups. But I could say now that if I was a player in it, it would have pissed me off. And if I was trying to run it, I would end up throwing it into the corner of the room. Into, that cylindrical, circular filing cabinet they call the dustbin.
You mean
That's
a
where it would
trash
have ended
bin?
up. Yes, that's where it would have ended up. Anyhow, there's my list.
On a
There
side
it is.
note, slightly off topic, how are you finding Pendragon?
I absolutely love it. I was hoping to run a session of it last week, but then all my work issues went completely tits up. For those who don't know, we caught my colleague who was doing 20 to 24 hours a week, who had worked there for 11 years. We caught her with her hands in the till, helping herself to money. And we have since found out that she has been using sob stories on customers to bleed money out of them, on co-workers to bleed money out of them, without a care in the world. So last week was just an absolute nightmare. It left two of us in the shop, one being our very occasional, mostly sort of Sunday shift lad who worked 3 hours one week, 8 hours the next week, very part-time. He stepped up. He did 20 odd hours last week. The shop is open for 64. I was in the shop for the remaining time, and I was doing a little bit of running around and trying to organize replacement staff and that sort of thing. So last week was written off. This week I'm rostered again for 44 hours, but I have interviewed a potential new member of staff. He's coming in for his first shift on Sunday, and I have a fourth member of staff coming in for some training on Saturday, because I don't want to be left with two of us ever again. So we may have to have two members of staff doing very few hours. That's the only way the shop can work. So that's why I've been a bit quiet recently.
That's all right.
And that's why Pendragon didn't happen last week.
Again, that's all right. But you like the system. You like what it offers.
Oh yeah, I get that people who are really into the whole player agency idea might dislike some of the mechanics, but I really, really like the idea that every trait has a positive and a negative.
Yep.
And the player can determine which trait they try and use to resolve a situation, and then whether they want to apply their positive or their negative trait to it first.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the dice might say otherwise, and the player might have to play out the side of the trait they didn't want to evoke.
Yep.
But that helps build the character. That helps create the personality and create the legend, because that's what they're doing as knights. They're creating fame, renown.
Yeah.
And they might be renowned for their frailties.
Yeah.
So I really like the idea of it.
You do remember that there are kings and emperors that are known throughout history as like Emperor Peter the Fat.
Yes, Charles the Bald.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
These are definitely aspects of it, and I mean, depends on how you want to look at it. You know, you are still building your character, which means that you are consciously making decisions of what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. So this is a part of it. It's a two-sided thing.
Yes, because the dice might say no.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, in my sci-fi game, I am gonna be, depending on where the players go, but they might encounter an alien species where they've got really good speech skills. Well, part of the rules is that if the player can roll and charm another NPC, the NPCs can roll and charm them.
Oh.
So it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
The social aspects.
And I think it's a good test of the player's role-playing abilities.
Oh no, like I'm going to be putting it quite blunt to them. You know, you can. It's an opposed thing. It's a win-lose. There's not really much leeway here. It's not going to be any like, oh, but my character wouldn't. I'm like, well, some people are convinced to do things that they wouldn't normally do. You are now one of them, and there you are. Because if they're going to say, oh, but I don't want to, it's like, well, then I get to say NPCs don't want to.
Yes. Good evening, young man. How are you feeling?
Hi. I'm better, slightly. Yeah, still not great. How are you all?
You're sounding a little bit croaky.
Okay.
But have you been lurking?
No, I didn't even know you were streaming somehow.
Oh, I did put in the Discord.
Well, I saw that it said, oh, we'll pop in, like, if you have anything to add. I'm like, well, I suppose I didn't have anything to add anyway.
No. It's one of those sort of streams, but
Tomb of Horrors was good. I can tell you that.
So you enjoyed Tomb of Horrors? Yeah, you've now played Tomb of Horrors, haven't you? Tomb of Horrors actually came in 25th place in my order there. But my criteria for ranking is how happy I would be to run that adventure tomorrow.
Out of how many?
There's 57 adventures here.
Okay. Not bad. What was number one?
I like it.
Go on, give me the rundown.
Well, number one is Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh. Number 2 is the Gauntlet. Number 3 is Lost City. Number 4 is Against the Cult of the Reptile God. Number 5 is Castle Amber.
I recognize some of those.
You never played any of them, have you?
Don't think so. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I'm Svinfilker. Yeah, Pendragon. We've played we've talked through the rules.
I like it.
Yeah,
I would prefer that to OS Shadow Dark personally.
Yeah. I mean, Marcelo. The reason I didn't done it this way is I've gone through objectively reviewing almost all of these adventures, and I just wanted to do something purely subjective for my own personal, how much I personally like the adventures, rather than trying to come up with objective criteria. Which I give them all 10 I give them all a mark out of 10, and strictly 9 or 10 out of 10 is reserved for adventures that you'd struggle to improve on. Really well written, well laid out, compelling. 7 or 8 tends to be good adventures that might need a little bit of work.
I'm gonna go to bed now.
All right, cheers, Saxius. Thank you.
Cheers.
A 7 or 8 rating in my usual reviews means the adventure needs a little bit of work. It might be badly laid out. It might require the DM to unpick a few encounters and change a few NPCs, that sort of thing. But otherwise, it's solid, and you can have a lot of fun out of it. A 5 or a 6 doesn't mean the adventure is desperate. It means that it either has limited appeal or a lot of work. A lot of work is needed to get the best out of it. A 3 or 4 tends to mean it's missed the mark. It's either dull. It doesn't make any sense, or even in the context, it doesn't work for how it's been presented. That sort of thing. And a 0, 1, or a 2 are the dregs. So I mean, some adventures here, for example, I think I gave in my reviews, some of the ones I've got in my top tier here, I gave about 8 out of 10 to. And there are some a little further down, for example, Ravenloft, I'm pretty sure I gave that a 9. But it's because it's due to the presentation, the slickness, the ideas that have gone into Ravenloft, the impact it had on the genre, the addition of it broke new ground regarding the bad guy, and I thoroughly enjoyed running it. But do I want to run it again? Not particularly. So I think, and I mean, Village of Homlet, for example, I've got it down in about 20th place, and it might just be that I'm just a little bit burnt out on it because I have used it for multiple campaigns. I think it does its job admirably and thoroughly deserves to be a classic. But right now, I would rather run something like the Isle of Dread more enthusiastically, because I haven't run it for such a bloody long time, and I love dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where's Forest Oracle rank on this?
Dead last.
And what else?
Where's you've got
Expedition to the Barrier Peaks?
49th out of 57.
So what's your bottom row? What's the shit list?
The shit list. We'll go from 48th. 48th, Temple of Elemental Evil. 49th, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. 50th, Maze of the Riddling Minotaur. 51st, Lost Tomb of Martek. 52nd, Dragons of Despair. 53rd, Conan Unchained. 54th, Assault on the Area of the Slave Lords. 55th, Quest for the Heartstone. 56th, Midnight on Dagger Alley. And 57th, The Forest Oracle. I don't know anything about Barbarians of Lemuria, I'm afraid, Daryl. It's not a game I've had any encounters with. In my games are dinosaurs, pulp, Lost World dinosaurs. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Very much so. I would run Isle of Dread as is, as an exploration through this Lost World island, and just let the players have fun with it.
Like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So, I think I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. I mean, one of the reasons I've got, for example, Veiled Society up in 26th is because I've only played it twice as a player, and it really intrigued me, the idea of working with factions in a city setting in basic D&D. And I'd love to have a go at running it. I think that is it too short? Yes. Do I think the stand-up models that came with it are stupid? Yes. I'd rather the adventure be bigger instead of having those. But I'd probably I'd certainly give it a lower overall objective rating than In Search of the Unknown, Ravenloft, Tomb of Horrors, Dwellers of the Forbidden City, even. But I want to get running it out of my system. I might hate it, but there we go. Anyway, you've joined me late, Iman, and you know I've got work and shit, don't you?
I know.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just pop in and say hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Are you gutted? Are you gutted that our Tuesday games? Are you gutted that our Tuesday games not happening next week?
Yeah. Thank you again for everything, because it was a fucking journey, and I love every bit of it. It was just great.
Iman had never played Call of Cthulhu before playing Horror on the Orient Express.
I'd never played much of anything. I played like a few sessions of OSC. That was about it.
And now you can say you have finished, not without issues, because you've had a bit of madness and character death along the way. You can now say you've finished one of the biggest and most in-depth campaigns ever created for any role-playing game system. And we still have one side scenario to go, a little epilogue that it does recommend running a little time after the campaign. It's a modern set, it's a modern one. So we will run that, whether we start it in 2 weeks' time or what, I don't know yet, but we will run it at some point.
Sounds good. But again, I mean, we won. Technically, I guess we won.
And poor Joker, he kept Jerome alive from the very start until the last half hour of the last session. The only original character to go from London to Constantinople and back to London, and he died in the final encounter in London.
What a heroic sacrifice.
We salute you, Joker. We salute you. B4 needs access to a town earlier. They're trying to gain access to the pyramid to find supplies, and there is food and water available fairly high up in the pyramid, and the idea is that they are, while resting and recuperating, they are drawn into the madness of it all. For those who don't know, Time's Up this is Joker. This is Joker. And yes, he lost his character right at the very end. We're going to end the stream now anyway, Joker. No worries. In basic D&D, you don't specifically need a town to level up. You can sort of have them become part of those little communities and factions, or they could easily secure the upper 2 levels of the pyramid and have them as a bit of a base, and then you can say, back to base, so that's their chance to reflect, recover, and thus gain abilities. And yeah, the faction. Yeah, joining a faction is the town. Effectively, yes, you're right, Jason. Yes. If you play with AD&D rules, then yeah, you will need to juggle around the training if you use the training rules in first edition. Second edition, maybe not. So, no worries, Marcelo. No worries. No worries. Anyway, I'm going to finish the stream now because I've got a full 10-hour shift tomorrow and a full 10-hour shift on Friday. And I'm in on Saturday afternoon as well, training a new member of staff before I have Sunday off. So I've got a fair bit of work left this week.
You got it, mate. Smash it.
I'm going to say thank you to Bear for being here earlier. Thank you to Saxius, who hasn't long gone. Thank you to Iman for popping in. I know the stream wasn't really geared at you tonight. We will have a stream on Friday. So are you going to finish off your book?
I mean, I could certainly give it a go.
As long as you're feeling up to it, let me know. Let me know. Yeah. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Michael. That's good to see. Good to see. Thank you. Thank you all for interacting, chatting away, giving your opinions, and all that sort of stuff. Good night, Jane. Good night. Good night, everybody. See you Friday.
Good to see you all again.